Hello, crawlers. Today, I'm going to give you a list of 5 book series that you will enjoy if you love Dungeon Crawler Carl. So stick around. Insert random Dungeon Crawler Carl funny sign-off thing here. Hey, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. It's great to meet you. I've been wondering when you would make it over. I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, a freelance editor, and the author of over 40 novel-length works, including The Black Knight Chronicles, Bubba the Monster Hunter, Quincy Harker Demon Hunter, and others. And it's currently the second week of May, 2026, and the biggest thing in publishing right now is Matt Dinniman's Dungeon Crawler Carl. Now, if you've been here a while, you've heard me talk about Matt and about Dungeon Crawler Carl on the channel before, and let's see, you've probably even seen me show off my Kickstarted edition spanky Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 1. And I've also signed up for the Kickstarter for books 2 and 3. And I will keep buying the Kickstarted shiny things as long as Matt keeps doing them. So keep it up, buddy. But if you're like most people, then you've read the first 7 books, and right now you are this deep in Parade of Horribles, Book 8, which debuted as the #1 audiobook on Audible, and then for a couple of hours was the #1 book on all of Kindle, on all of Amazon, and is still today, 2 days after release, still in the top 10 on all of Amazon. This is a monster book series, and it is introducing a lot of new fans to the concept of portal fantasy, isekai, and lit RPG. And yes, I do frequently refer to lit RPG as litter pigs because it's funny, and because Matt said it on a panel once, and I looked over at him and said, "You understand that I'm literally never going to call it anything other than litter pig, and it's your fault, and that's also my excuse." And he was like, yeah, I get that. So a lot of people have had no exposure to this burgeoning genre of science fiction and fantasy until now. And that means that once you are finished with Parade of Horribles, it's going to be a minute before book 9 comes out. Because if you've seen book 8, well, y'all, that was book 1. Book 8 is like 2 or 3 times the length. So it's going to take a bit for that to get written. That means you're going to need other stuff to read. So I've gone through and come up with a collection of 5 series. None of these are just one books. The shortest of the series is Discount Dan, which is brand new, and James Hunter, the author of that series, writes quickly. So you've got at least 3 books, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 12 books that you can chew on until Matt stops flying around the country signing everything that anyone puts in front of him and sits down and writes. Yes, I know, Matt. You're working on it. It's cool, bud. Right. So what should you read after Dungeon Crawler Carl? First off, staying in the litter pig world, let's look at one of the other biggest series in that genre, He Who Fights with Monsters, by Shirtaloon, also known as Travis Deverell. I believe that as He Who Fights with Monsters has gotten more mainstream attention, Travis has kind of shifted off the Shirtaloon name. A lot of lit RPG writers, when the genre first kicked off, were going by essentially gamer tags. And that just kind of became a thing. I never understood it personally, but whatever, not my world. So currently, He Who Fights with Monsters is one of the other massive series of lit RPG. I'm looking at the Amazon page for all of these books. That's how I'm getting my notes. There are over 22,000 reviews and ratings on Amazon with an aggregate rating of 4.7 stars. It was selected as one of Audible's best audiobooks of 2021. This is a popular series, and Athon Books just released a special edition hardcover, which looks really nice. So maybe you should go out and check that out at your local bookstore. Or, there's a link down in the description to He Who Fights with Monsters Book 1. You can order it there. If you do, I get a little kickback from Amazon for that. So what's it about? It's kind of a classic lit RPG book. Jason wakes up in a mysterious world of magic and monsters. It's not easy making the career jump from office supplies store middle manager to heroic interdimensional adventurer. At least Jason tries to be heroic, but it's hard to be good when all your powers are evil. He'll face off against cannibals, cultists, wizards, monsters, and that's just on the first day. He's going to need courage. He's going to need wit. He's going to need some magic powers of his own. But first, he's going to need pants. After cementing itself as one of the best-rated serial novels on Royal Road with an astonishing 13 million views, He Who Fights with Monsters is now available on Kindle. There's 12 books, so like most of us, Travis did not go back and update the Amazon copy after he got further into the series, and I don't blame him, because I ain't done that stuff either. This is a very popular series. A lot of people really love it. I have started listening to the audiobook, but haven't gotten that far into it, and honestly, I just used my last Audible credit on Parade of Horribles. So I'm going to be listening to Jeff Hayes reading Matt Dinneman for the next, depends on how much I drive, for the next little bit anyway, because seriously, y'all, Book 8's a chunk. I think it's like 20 friggin' hours long. Craziness. So this is a straight up lit RPG book. Guy wakes up in a game, butt naked, no idea where he is, and then all of a sudden, pop-up menus appear in his vision. That's not really my vibe of a book, honestly. The game mechanics parts is kind of the part I skip over in most game lit or lit RPG books. It's why I love Dungeon Crawler Carl, because it's very light on the game mechanics crunchy bits. It's woven into the story. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit crunchier rules-wise and still has a lot of great ratings, a lot of great word of mouth, He Who Fights with Monsters is definitely something that you should check out. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can borrow the book through Kindle Unlimited, and you don't have to pay anything extra for it. And if you have Audible credits, you can use a credit to get the audiobook. And the audiobook is also crazy long. How long is it, John? It is 28 hours and 56 minutes, so almost 29 hours long. You're definitely getting your credits worth out of that bad boy. So if you're wanting to jump into lit RPG and you want to kind of start with the biggest of the bigs, once you finish up with Carl, He Who Fights with Monsters is definitely a solid next choice. Another really strong choice is Discount Dan. The series is called Discount Dan's Backroom Bargains, and the first book is Discount Dan. It's written by James Hunter, and this feels more like Dungeon Crawler Carl, at least in the opening. I have the audiobook for this too, but again, it's also gotten pushed back because, well, Parade of Horribles. Sorry, James. But James Hunter is the author, and he's a great writer. He's very dedicated to his craft. He really knows how to tell a story. He knows how to blend humor with action. So I'm really looking forward to digging into this book and this series. Currently, there are only 3 books out, but the first one was published 14 months ago in March of last year, and there's already 2 sequels. James is pretty fast, and he owns the press that he publishes through, like someone else we know. So he can get his stuff out the door quicker. But let's read the description. This currently has almost 1,600 ratings on Amazon with an aggregate score of 4.5. Also awesome. No clip in, no way out. All Dan wants is to find a way home. He'd settle for a beer, a bite to eat, and a place to sleep off his hangover. But in an endless, ever-changing dungeon cobbled together from twisted carnivals, abandoned shopping malls, janky laundromats, and condemned insane asylums, getting a bit of shut-eye is harder than it seems. Dan has accidentally no-clipped into the back rooms, a bizarro, extra-dimensional Alice in Wonderland world overrun with horrific nightmare creatures known as the Dwellers. No one ever gets out. Hell, forget about leaving. If Dan wants to survive the week, he's going to need to harness the strange game-like magic of the back rooms, make some very sketchy allies, and carve out a little safe haven to call his own. And he's going to need to do it fast, because Dan is being hunted. The flayed monarch of the 999th floor has marked him for death, and no one walks away from the skinless court with their hide intact. So that's another one that is much more in the straight up lit RPG vein, but knowing James's writing, it's going to be very approachable, even if Dungeon Crawler Carl is the only lit RPG you've ever read. The next 3 examples on my list are much less lit RPG focused, but most of them do still have an element of portal fantasy to them, whereby someone from our world goes into another world. You remember the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon when you were a kid? Oh wait, most of you are younger than me. Remember the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that you've seen reruns of on YouTube or something? That's a portal fantasy. Hell, I think the first He-Man movie was also a portal fantasy. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. First one is one of the funniest books I've read in a lot of years. And it's written by a friend of mine. So, strangely enough, I'm predisposed to like it. But I'm not allowed to read these books in bed anymore because I kept waking my wife up laughing. So now I have to read them when I'm awake. It's called Critical Failures. That's the first book in the Caverns and Creatures series by Robert Bevan. If you are easily offended, skip this recommendation. If you do not like bathroom humor, skip this recommendation. If your sense of humor has matured past that of a 12-year-old boy, skip this recommendation. Mine has not, so I really liked these books. And apparently a whole lot of other people did too, because it has 4,169 ratings on Amazon and Goodreads with an aggregate rating of 4.3. And this is straight up not just portal fantasy, but punishment portal fantasy. Tim and his friends find out the hard way that you shouldn't question the game master and you shouldn't make fun of his cape. One minute, They're drinking away the dreariness of their lives, escaping into a fantasy game and laughing their butts off. The next minute, they're in a horse-drawn cart surrounded by soldiers pointing crossbows at them. Tim now has the voice and physique of a prepubescent girl. Dave finds that while he lost a foot or two in height, he somehow acquired a suit of armor and a badass beard. Julian's ears have grown ridiculously long and pointy. And Cooper, well, Cooper has gotten himself a set of tusks, a pair of clawed hands, and a bad case of diarrhea. He also finds that he's carrying a bag with a human head in it, a head that he had chopped off when they were still just playing a game. Stuff just got real, and if they want to survive, these four friends are going to have to tap into some baser instincts they didn't even know existed in their fast food and pizza delivery world. It's fight, flight, or try to convince the people who are trying to kill them that they don't really exist. So this is straight up Portal Fantasy. A bunch of jerks from our world are playing D&D, and their GM is kind of a poser douche, but two, they're really dicks to this guy. So he casts a spell on him and sends him into the game, where the guy who min-maxed his orc fighter character now has a charisma of 3, which means that he frequently soils himself. I did say that if you're offended easily, or really if you're offended ever, skip this. You're not going to enjoy it. But if you have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy, you'll probably love it. And if you want more proof that I have the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy, strangely enough, I recommended one of my books on this list too. Hey, it's my channel. I'm going to be a little self-serving once in a while. If you like Carl, you will like Bubba the Monster Hunter. They are very different, but the style and voice is similar. It's not anything like Lit RPG. It's not anything like a Portal Fantasy. It is straight up urban fantasy with a giant redneck running around the southeastern United States, hunting down monsters and blowing stuff up. It's basically dick jokes and explosions, the book. It only has 395 ratings on Goodreads and Kindle and Amazon, but it does have an aggregate rating of 4.4. Hey, that's nice. I don't ever look at reviews, so it's nice to find out that other people like stuff. This is the first of 6 books in the series, and the first 2 are collections of short stories with a novella at the end. And then starting with book 3, it's collections of 4 novellas per volume. So there's bite-sized chunks before you get to the big meteor novellas. Bubba is the Southeastern Regional Monster Hunter for the Holy Roman Catholic Church, because I thought that was funny. And he is a giant hillbilly who used to play defense for the University of Georgia Bulldogs till he blew out his knee. Then he had to come home and join the family business, monster hunting. So he goes after all kinds of craziness. We got fairies, we got vampire ballet dancers, we got zombies, we got idiots raising zombies, and we've got Bigfoot. And we also have naked Bigfoot. Not like that naked, like naked Bigfoot fight scene. Yeah, that one's in book 2. It was a writing challenge that I gave myself. I wanted to see how many weird euphemisms for male genitalia I could include in one fight scene. I got most of them. You're welcome. Scattered, Smothered, and Chunked, you can get it on Amazon. You can buy signed copies off our Shopify site. There's a link in the description. Or, you can get the ebooks. It's All of these books that I've talked about are available in Kindle Unlimited. Is that right? Yes. All of these are available in Kindle Unlimited if that's a thing that you do. And you can get all of the ebooks from Amazon. Being in Kindle Unlimited does mean that the ebooks are all exclusive to Amazon. So if you would like to support an independent business, go to your local indie bookstore and order print copies of all of these, or go on our Shopify site and order signed copies of the Bubble Books. There are currently 6 volumes. I'm happy to send you all of them. I have them in stock for now, convention season. The 5th and final series I want to turn you on to and talk to you about is actually my favorite of the ones I've talked about in this video, including the one I wrote. It's the Spells, Swords, and Stealth series by Drew Hayes. Book 1 is called NPCs. Now, Drew and Robert Bevan and I, among others, were all on the Authors and Dragons podcast together for 8 years. But NPCs is my favorite of all of these series, and I think it's just a fantastic book series. And the first one is really a fascinating exploration for anybody who's played a lot of D&D or other role-playing games. What happens when the haggling is done and the shops are closed? When the quest has been given, the steeds saddled, and the adventurers are off to their next encounter. They keep the world running, the food cooked, and the horses shoed. Yet what adventurer has ever spared a thought or concern for the non-player characters? In the town of Maplebark, 4 such NPCs settle in for a night of actively ignoring the adventurers drinking in the tavern when things go quickly and fatally awry. Once the dust settles, these 4 find themselves faced with an impossible choice. Pretend to be adventurers undertaking a task of near certain death, or see their town and loved ones destroyed. Armed only with salvaged equipment, secondhand knowledge, and a secret that could get them killed, it will take all manner of miracles if they hope to pull off their charade. And even if they succeed, the deadliest part of their journey may well be what awaits them at the end. This series is great. If you're a D&D nerd like me, if you're a fan of old school adventure fantasy like me, then you really need this in your life. It's great stuff. There's 5 books in it. Book 1 is called NPCs. It has 4,403 ratings on Amazon and Goodreads with an aggregate score of 4.4. And I can't say enough good things about it. The book's just fantastic. And Drew's a great person. And if you're going to be at Con Carolinas at the end of this month, you can get autographed copies of the Critical Failures books, of the Bubble books, and of the NPCs books at the show, because Drew, Bob, and I will all be there selling books. So you can come by and meet us all, hang out. If you come to Dragon Con, Drew, James Hunter, and I, along with Matt Dinneman, will all be at Dragon Con this year. I don't know if Shirtaloon is coming or not. I've never met Travis, so I have no idea. That's 5 new series for you to dive into when you're done with Dungeon Crawler Carl. What's one of your favorite book series? Tell me about it in the comments. And while you're in the comments, or while you're in that little area under the video, why don't you hit that subscribe button, give this a like, and if you want your name on the wall like these cool people, after you click the subscribe button, click the button next to it again and join. It's like $5 a month, and it really does help out the channel. So thank you all for watching. Head on over to however you acquire your books legally and enjoy. Till next time, bye.